All right. So thank you everyone for joining. Today is one of our Zoom meetings. This is for North American Association of Sales Engineers. My name is Diana Diaco Cantes, and I am the president of the association. So today we're going to be talking about adapting skills for the new industry and mastering lateral movement within your company. Um, so today we're going to introduce a few topics, but before we get into having this conversation with our lovely board of association board members, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the association itself. So North American Association of Sales Engineers is a lovely association that was started to connect you, folks that are in in the sales engineering field, whether you hold a sales engineering title or you work with in the pre-sales. This association was here for it's a purely volunteer role where we come together to just connect you and get you together so you learn, connect to each other, just um, be able to connect and learn. We have a membership benefits that you are able to, if you join, be able to have a number of opportunities to have discounts on services, be able to have the opportunity to connect with your fellow members and join events like this, where you get to learn a number of things that you can. We also have a certificate that you can have. All of us have been able to be recognized by the certificate, the CSE certificate. And basically what it is it allows you to be recognized by your fellow sales engineers. It is something that you can apply for. It is based on your experience. It is based on recognition of being in the field. And you could probably display it in not just on LinkedIn, but also potentially on your resume if you're looking for a career change. So if you would like more information on this, you can search it on our website, which we can put it towards the end of the webinar, so you can check it out. And we can talk a little bit more later in the Q&A section if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that. But for right now, I wanted to get you introduced to the panel, and then afterwards we can talk a little bit about some housekeeping as we go into talking about our points. So today we have Meg Stewart, Pat Chapathi, and Adam Joyce. Guys, if you wouldn't mind giving a quick introduction, and then we'll get into some discussions here.
Perfect. Well, I'm Meg, and I am a solutions engineer with AppFolio. My journey began in real estate, and it's interesting, today's topic is about adapting skills. And so my journey began in real estate, where I managed properties from leasing to management, and those skills translated into the sales engineering world, where I was able to embrace new challenges and leadership, which skills also translated into consulting and other areas of the world, so within the software side. So I'm excited to share a little bit about that with you and give you some tips and tricks on how to do that if you're looking to transition inside your current company.
Thanks, Meg. Pat?
Hi, this is Pat here. I lead the Microsoft, basically industry domain for energy utilities and travel tech out here in Houston, Texas, for LTI Mindtree, which is a part of a $30 billion Larsen & Toubro group. A lot of exciting things happening in the industry, lots of good topics that Diana and Meg are going to talk about. So hopefully we can look forward to more engaging discussion. And wherever, in fact, as a part of NAASE, I have coached and mentored a couple of other people who have come across and trying to make this career move or trying to grow up in the career as well to the next step. So let's see what the next steps are and try to engage in a more kind of discussion and see for the next steps. Thank you, Diana.
Great. Thank you. Adam?
Hey everyone, Adam Joyce. I am in strategic and technical account management, which You might be asking, why are you on the board for sales engineering? I recently made a career transition from the sales engineering and solution consulting and leading those teams to now focusing on, account management or more post-sale work. So I think I have a lot to, talk about today on mastering that lateral movement within your organization. But today I am focused on strategic account management for a company called MX. We are a software as a service company in the fintech and financial services space. So looking forward to the discussion.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for the introductions. So before we get into our first question around adapting your skills, I just wanted to give you a little housekeeping. So there will be two main topics of discussion. I encourage you guys to ask questions. So I want this to be, a discussion, not wait till the end kind of a situation. So please add your questions in the chat or stop us. Ask your questions, suggestions. I do want to make sure that we have a list of things that we can towards the end share. If you have any suggestions for everyone else that we can share out. Also, I do want to have some future topics. So if you have anything that comes out of this discussion that we want to explore a little further, I would like to use that as a jumping board for future discussions that we can all come together and share it later. Let's get into the first discussion point. So first one, successfully adapting your skills to thrive in a new industry and navigating lateral movement within your company or industry. Meg, how would you approach that topic? Oh, you're on mute.
Rookie mistake. So great question. So when it comes to like adapting skills to move lateral, like even Adam will have, I know, some awesome things to share. But I look at a few things, right? We need to identify our transferable skills, where we have to identify what skills we have today that can be applied in different contexts. Communication, project management, technical abilities of the sales engineer role, the solution engineer role. It's very technical most of the time. So being able to identify some of those skills, and then what skills are in demand? Do you have some skills that can translate into being a consultant, right? Through discovery and finding the right solutions. Continuous learning, like never stop learning, I would say, is another one. Take courses or certifications relevant to maybe some of the new areas that you're wanting to move into. Networking is always a great one. Building relationships with colleagues and target departments. External networking is awesome as well. I mean, just being a part of this organization has really helped me in other areas of my career and talking through some of those skills and how they translate, because we're all different sales engineers for different industries. Some of us are software focused, some of us are like physical product focused. And then seek cross-functional projects, participate in cross-departmental initiatives to gain experience, to build relationships inside of the company.
Yeah, that's a good point. Pat, what do you think?
I think coming from very heavy core industry as opposed to most of the people in the industry, and making 4 career transitions in the last 20 years, I definitely can speak on this. There are lots of transferable skills you can take from one position to the other. And, even though most people, and this is important because most people only view vertical growth as the only growth, which I completely disagree with. In fact, horizontal growth can give you a very good perspective about other teams, about different management styles, and also what's happening in the other side of the industry that you might not be aware of, even though you might be in the same industry. So basically, some of the things that basically Meg said, you have lots of transferable skills. You need to understand what are the skills in demand, and then make that choice to effectively network, learn those new skills, and then pitch yourself for the new job, and then make that career transition yourself. I think that will quickly become a kind of winning mantra for you if you decide to basically take on those steps. But you have to I think that definitely comes with one disclosure, and that is you have to be able to adapt and you have to be
Mm,
able to learn. Because if you're not open to the new skills, and if you're not open to learning, I think that's where you will hit that glass ceiling. Whether it's vertical or horizontal, that's completely irrespective.
mm,
But I think you have to be open to that change, to adapt, quickly learn, and then move on to the new set of skills. uh,
yeah.
I think it will help, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. And I did hear you say adapt. And it goes back to what you said, Meg. And also, I did hear a very key part, um, pitch yourself, which kind of goes back to what you said, kind of some of those soft skills that you need to learn. So never stop learning those soft skills. I think that's a very, very important key part.
Definitely.
Cool. Adam.
Yeah, so I think you're going to hear kind of a common theme, but to take a step back for just a second. So I think this is a really important topic because adaptability and Pat, kind of said that already, but adaptability is cited as one of the most critical skills for the future of work. And if you kind of think about why that is, right, there's a number of reasons, but there's rapid technological innovation happening and changes, right? So think of everything coming with AI and robotics and biotechnology. There's lots of things happening in the technological space. There's volatility in business in general, right? There's increased competition. Obviously, we've seen political and global disruptions with wars and things like that. There's supply chain issues that we've all experienced in the last 4 years. So there's a lot of volatility happening in business as well. And then the third thing I'd call out is kind of we're moving into a more of a globalized market, right? Whether it's in the software space, and as an example would be like cross-border payments, or whether it's in the physical product space, and obviously some of the global logistics that happen with that. Things are moving cross-border and global at much more faster speeds, whether digitally or physical products today. So that being said, adaptability is that critical skill to have. And the way I think about adaptability is really about being flexible, about being resilient. I talk a lot about
Mm,
resiliency in your industry, and then being just open and being open to new ways of working in the future. And one of the best ways, and kind of getting to the core of the topic here, kind of the best ways to develop that adaptability is investing in yourself and lifelong learning and developing kind of that growth mindset. And there's so many resources out there available. I know Pat and Meg, you guys both, kind of talked about a couple of them, but there's tons of courses available, both paid and free. When I
mm,
was transitioning from another organization to the current industry I'm in, that's what I did. I took courses at universities and things like that in my industry. There's tons of books that you can purchase, obviously, tons of conferences you can attend. Oftentimes, those conferences will do free passes for students if you're, in getting an undergrad degree or in professional education. And then there's intangible skills, right? As Pat called out, those translate from industry to industry. Things like leadership and creativity and problem solving. You can find opportunities in your organization that you're serving today to develop those intangible skills. So I would highly encourage people to do that as well. It's not just about having background in the industry you want to go into, whether it's courses and books, but also developing some of those intangible skills that translate across industries.
yeah. And a lot of times the desire to want to do that, a lot of times you can definitely tell when someone is hungry to make those movements and uh, thrive in those changes. Um, Very good. I like those answers. Um, I know this is a kind of a left field question follow up. This is kind of from my own perspective, but what do you think of those the younger folks that are coming into the working industry and they're just getting started and very quickly they want to pivot and change industries and change jobs. Like what kind of advice would you all have for them? Surprise question. Because a lot of they're struggling.
If you want, Dan, I can start with that,
Yeah.
if you're open. So, that was, I mean, you just described the first few years of my career, going back 20 years, right? Right. So, I mean, there is, and again, I'm not trying to go into the philosophy of grunt work building character. That's not exactly what I'm trying to say. But you have to definitely start somewhere. There has to be a starting point in your career once you leave school, or you're fresh out
Yeah.
of school, or whatever you are doing as your starting point. And you have to build your niche in one industry or the other, right? I mean, jumping from one place to the other, pivoting is perfectly fine, right? But when I started working on rigs, on oil rigs, almost 20 years ago, that was necessarily not what I wanted to do for the next 30, 40
Mm,
years.
yeah.
But I chose to stay for the first 5 years because it's still, you still had skills to learn, and that will go with any industry. Pharma, drug manufacturing, oil and gas, any of the construction, whatever it is. You have to at least spend some amount of time into one industry to learn actually what's happening in that industry before you pivot to something else, right?
Yeah.
You can't pivot in the first 6 months. You can't pivot in the first 4 months, because then you are just changing jobs from one after the other, and that's perfectly fine. But you have to spend some considerable time in one industry segment to understand at least the length, the breadth, the height, what is happening, the depth of that industry.
Yeah.
And then you decide what you want to do. If sales engineering is your calling, or pre-sales is your calling, or just like Adam is doing right now, if post-sales account management is your calling, then you can transfer those skills and basically focus on that path, and then make your career move to stay in that
Hmm.
direction. And again, once you move, there is no guarantee you want to stay there for the next
Yeah.
20 years again, right?
Yeah.
So since I
Yeah.
have done this 4 times in my last 22 years, I think that's definitely,
Yeah.
you have to start somewhere,
So
take the
build a
time to learn
base,
the skills exactly, and
build
then
a
build up on the
base, and
next.
then, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I just took a long time, but this is
No,
very
no, no.
close to my
That's,
heart. This is
yeah.
something, a topic which I coach people on. I
Yeah.
also teach at the university level, and this question comes
I know.
on basically on a regular basis. And this is what I tell my students as well, right? So hopefully this is helpful to the people on the call. Thank you.
That's fantastic. This is great. Meg?
Yeah, I mean, I would, it goes with, it's hard to kind of dispute or even add too much to what Pat had to say, because it isn't, to become adaptable, you have to get those foundational skills down, and not just the soft skills, but the technical skills. And so as you build upon that,
Hmm.
and kind of take that and translate that into something else, you're creating you're like building upon that foundation, if you will. And so, just my career change, for example, I was leasing apartments. Never in a million years, I didn't even know what a sales engineer was. Okay. I was just helping people move into an apartment. And then all of a sudden it was, wait, the knowledge I have of leasing apartments translate into the software that property management companies need. And I speak their language. So it's easy for me to resonate with the needs of them. And so I was offered an opportunity to jump into sales engineering, where then I began to learn a little bit more about how to consult, because sales engineering in my world is a bit of a consulting on the pre-sale side, so that I can help the consultants on the post-sale side. And so I'm just continuously building upon that foundation of skills, both soft and technical, to kind of take it, to different places. And I've done this for different softwares. I haven't always done it for property management. I've jumped into revenue platforms. I've jumped into false alarm platforms for cities. And so some of my skills have translated into those other industries. But it's also taught me, to Pat's point, that I didn't want to stay in those places. That wasn't where my passion was. And so I've moved back into like the real estate side, but just kind of in different roles that
You
translated.
rediscovered yourself.
Exactly.
It's a journey of rediscovery. Awesome. I love it. Awesome. Do you have anything else to add, Rob? Adam. Sorry.
No,
I
I,
was like,
I would agree with Meg and Pat. The only thing I might add is that this is where having a really good relationship with your direct leaders matters, because you can have open and honest conversations about what your interests are, right? So, hey, if you're interested in other parts of the business or even other industries, what skills do you have or not have that you need to develop to, transition, whether that's internally or externally, to something that you have more passion for or care more about, or whatever the case may be. So, I think having a really strong relationship with your direct leaders, it can be really beneficial to the career path that you're looking at.
We have
Ooh,
two
so that's a
questions
good
on
one.
chat. We have two questions on chat, Diana.
Ooh, okay, here we go. Let me see.
One question is from Ken. I can
And
read
then,
it for
okay.
you. He's saying, one question, when you are shifting industries, how long do you think it takes to become sufficient to become a SME in order to best perform in a sales engineer role for them?
Mm. Ooh, that's a good
I-
question.
In my opinion, never.
Never.
I think it
Always
takes.
be learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm very much invested in lifelong learning. So I don't think you're
Yeah.
ever, and I know we use this SME or subject matter expert phrase all the time, but I think there's always room for everybody to learn, regardless if you've been in the organization for a long time or not. Just a very direct answer would be never. It takes a long time to get, sufficient at a particular
Mm,
role, but I think never to be, truly, an expert. There's always room to grow as an individual.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll have
agree. I agree with that. So, I mean, just even in my being a sales, the industry trends change. The industries within themselves are evolving. And so the needs of the customers, the needs of the people we're serving can be vastly different. I mean, just like pre-COVID, post-COVID, like nobody saw the changes that were coming with the world. And so you're always changing and evolving. And even when you're transitioning to new industries, for example, like I've done it twice, you're taking the foundation with you. You've got, as long as you're picking up the soft skills and moving into it, like now you're just really trying to learn a new customer set, right? And try to really understand who you're serving now. I think is the most challenging piece of sales engineer job is you've got your skill set down, but now you have to go and apply that to a totally new customer base.
I have a slight different take on this, and I would agree and disagree both, because when you look from two different lenses, because I have set my foot in both traditional industries and non-traditional industries, right? Technology and traditional industries, conventional industries. In conventional industry, to your point, Adam and Megan, I think once you spend 5 to 7 years working your trade, working across different streams, interdepartment transferability skills, I think within 5 to 10 years, you kind of become an industry in that conventional segment. I'm taking a very conventional example: oil and gas, manufacturing, chemicals, petrochemicals. Once you spend 10 to 15 years in that segment, you can be viewed, you can call yourself a SME in that segment, because not much changes in the traditional operation sense. Now,
Mm-hmm.
coming to the non-traditional industries where I am right now, I would absolutely agree with you. Trends change, the vision changes with everything that is happening, with the change of with the new skills happening in AI, specifically AI, robotics, operational optimization, data analytics. Those skills change on I would not even say yearly, I would say on a monthly basis,
Monthly basis.
right? So you can't be a SME in that sense until, to Adam's point, you keep investing in yourself, upgrading your knowledge stack, and then keep on moving, right? So again, my view is from two different industry perspective, two different kinds of industries perspective. I think that's where I would say, in traditional 10 to 15 years, in non-conventional, you would never be a SME in the true sense.
Mm. No, that's a good point. Um,
We have another
okay.
question from Rob. You want me to read it, Dana?
Yeah, so
I've been
let's see.
struggling with getting a job in K-12 software. I have been in the industry for 12 years. I feel that I'm missing out on interviews, but I don't know why. What things would I have on my resume to make sure that employers know I'm a solid sales engineer candidate? Getting into industry seems almost impossible to me at this point.
K through 12 software.
I would say, Rob, there are recruiters for just about any industry out there. And if you can get plugged into a great recruiting firm, some recruiters out there, they'll coach you on how to get your resume into a place to where you will be an attractive candidate in some of these roles, but also help you find some of those interview opportunities. So that was the first thing that came to mind for me when you're trying to break into a new industry is try to get with people who are actively recruiting for those industries.
Yeah.
They'll tell you if you're lacking something, or, you know, if they have customers of their own that they're filling roles for, what it is they're looking for. And that will help kind of guide you into where you need to study or put some focuses or gain some skills, or it could just be you need to reword some things on your resume, some buzzwords, some keywords.
Yeah.
And when I do break into an interview with a recruiter, I do ask around, like, what is the ideal persona? What are the things you're looking for in your ideal candidate? And they'll throw buzzwords at you. They'll throw keywords and things at you that you can then take back and incorporate into your efforts.
Adam, you want to take it or?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd add, first of all, I agree with that. Secondly, and it kind of plays right into that is the famous quote, like your network is your net worth, right? So keep networking with the people that are in that industry, reach out to them both digitally or if you know them like in person, have conversations with them. Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't say I'm a resume expert, but I would agree with Meg in saying that there's lots of people out there that are, specifically those recruiting firms. So they've got lots of opportunities to kind of help you design the resume to make sure you're getting opportunities in those roles that you want to get into. So the last thing I'd say is don't give up. I've seen people that have applied for 400, 500, 600 jobs before landing the one they wanted. So perseverance, resilience, those are buzzwords that we've kind of talked about a lot thus far. I would just don't give up and continue pushing for what you want.
I can give a quick 30 seconds more tactical approach, Rob, right? When you talk about the K-12 space, the whole landscape is full of so many different players, right? You are talking about, when you talk about different aspects of parent engagement, you talk about different engagement of student information systems, SIS. I mean, there are so many different, different variations or boundaries into which a K-12 software management works, right? So you can choose one specific area where you think you are the best or you want to focus on. Like if you are talking about learning systems management, I would say there are only, if you would do a search in terms of what the end customers are using, there'll be only 12 products which are available throughout the world right now, which are more very specifically crafted for SIS or LMS systems, right? If you want to basically target or just microscope on these 12 different technologies and where you feel the most comfortable, at least that would be a starting point, right? And from that, so if you talk about LMS systems, you talk about either Docebo or Blackboard or Canvas or Cornerstone, any of these technologies. If you pick up at least one of them in the next 3 months or in the next couple of weeks, you can do your start point. You can get certified, and when you put that in your resume, you will have a better choice when you are talking or working with a recruiter to make to Meg's point and to Adam's point. You keep that path going, and then suddenly you will have 5 or 6 target companies, or at least 10 target companies that are working on that specific solution on that particular offering, right? And then you can build up on that. I mean, I can talk to you one-on-one, Rob, and give you specific advice if you want, but that's how I would do it, and I have coached some of our other people as well.
Just to kind of add to that, you could broaden your scope too. So there's not just like those niche players like Pat was talking about that specifically focus on the K through 12 space, but there's also large global organizations that have K through 12 verticals within their business, like Microsoft, obviously is one of them, and many others, right? There's lots of large technology companies that service all kinds of different industries. And so broaden your scope and looking at some of those larger players specifically to work on their K through 12 teams, or even not on their K through 12 teams. And once you develop skills internally there, make the transition internally to their K through 12 teams. I would just say broaden your scope to some of those larger technology players because there's lots of large companies that play in multiple verticals. So don't limit yourself to just ones that are quote unquote K through 12 software providers.
Good point, Adam. See, that's where the different perspectives come in, right? How different people from the industry would focus on the same problem and come from different solutions. Amazing.
Awesome. Great feedback. Thanks, everyone. Okay. So moving on to the next point. Experiences, strategies, and lessons learned in making significant career transitions or applying your expertise, knowledge, and passion in different roles. I think we've covered a lot of this in our discussions over the last few minutes. So I think if there's nothing else we can add, do you guys have any additional advice in to add to this?
I can
Sorry,
start.
repeat the question. Sorry, I didn't get it.
So the question was experiences, strategies, lessons learned in making significant career transitions or applying your expertise, knowledge, and passion in different roles.
Yeah, so I can start, and I'm a pretty structured person, right? So I have to follow like a checklist, if you will. So for me, if I'm looking to make like a lateral movement internally at a company or even externally looking at different industries, there's that book. It's a leadership book called Start with Why, but you can apply that here too. Start with your why, like why.
Yeah.
Really define why you want to make that transition, whether it's laterally, internally, or even externally. Clearly define what your reasoning is behind that. Secondly, someone shared with me, before that there's like 3-circle Venn diagram that he calls like the fit diagram. And within that diagram, each one of the circles represents, one is passion, one is opportunity, and one is capability. So first one, passion, like, is this something you're passionate about? Why are you passionate about it? Make sure that, if that's something you want to move into, that it is something that you're going to like for the long term. Second one is opportunity. Is there opportunity there? Is that field growing? Is there opportunity within your current organization? Are they hiring for that particular role or even externally at other organizations? Is the opportunity there? And then thirdly, the third one is capability. Like, do you have the capability to do the role based on the job description and anything else? Do you have that capability today? And if not, kind of leads me to that third bullet point, is a skills gap analysis, right? So looking at the job description, understanding the role and responsibilities of that role you're looking for, what can you do and can't you do based on your skills today, and where do you have those gaps, and then put together a playbook for closing that gap. And specifically for like a lateral internally, which is what I've done. I led our solutions consulting team at my current company. I've made the internal transition to being on the strategic account management, technical account management side of the house now. Specifically what I did is kind of put a timeline together in that playbook for closing those various skills gap and strategizing with my leader. I was really tight with my leader to refine that playbook, get feedback from them, understand, a backfill for, the role that I was leaving. How much better is that message when I come to my leader and say, hey, there's an opportunity here for me to move into this role. I identified my gaps and my skills. Here's my playbook for addressing those gaps. Here's the timing in which I think I can achieve that. And then here's my plan to backfill the role that I'm leaving. How much more powerful is that conversation with your leader than just saying, hey, I'm interested in transitioning to this role internally. I see there's something on our job board or whatever. Right. So that is significantly more powerful and can actually drive that conversation. And so I'd follow something playbook like that. That's mine, but there's others that you could develop personally.
Yeah. Awesome. So I would agree with Adam, what Adam had to say. But if you find yourself that you don't have a leader that open, because let's face it, everybody has different leaderships, I'd say find a mentor internally. Maybe there is someone that you trust inside the company you're in that you can have those conversations with, to be very transparent, to share. I also had leaders that Adam is kind of sharing, where he came to everybody on the team and said, let's talk about where you want to be. What do you want to do? Even if it's not here, like, how can I help you grow as a professional? And so I appreciated that from a leadership perspective, because then it opened my horizons. He had ideas for me because he had seen my skill set. And I ended up moving out of sales engineering into the director of accounts receivable at a company, which people just looking in would be like, why? Well, because some of my background in property management was collections and money, and taking that leadership and discovery from my sales engineering to dig into that account, right? And doing some of the account management piece of it. And so you just never know where it'll take you, but if you have those people that you can trust, or you know what you want to do, even in sales engineering, we work a lot with product, we work a lot with marketing, we work a lot with like different segments inside the company. And so you may learn that you really, I had a guy move out of AR, accounts receivable, into UI and UX, a guy that worked for me because he was like, I love this. And I was, great, let's figure out how to do it. So if you have a passion, to Adam's point, right, figure out what your passion is, figure out what you need to get there, and then, you know, begin to build the stepping stones into adjusting into that role.
Diana, I don't know if you're having,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if you're having any like connection issues or whatever, but Pat, anything to add to that or?
No, I was just frozen. Sorry, I think your voice was delayed. So sorry. I think in terms of both the approach, I mean exactly what Adam and Meg said. Again, I would see it as a two-pronged approach. One might work, which is Adam and Meg in that direction, where you build the building blocks within your organization to move to the next steps. uh, in one of the previous organizations, I was actually not successful doing it. I wanted to have a drastic change in exactly what I was doing, and I could not. Basically, the management did not view that change as a positive change. They wanted to have the existing set of people who had uh, years and years of experience in that certain domain to stay in that, and basically it was not viewed favorably. That's again a situation that might happen to many. So I had to take an approach in which I had to go outside the organization to another organization and say, this is what I have done, exactly to Adam's approach. I think I am suitable for doing this. This is how I have done this in the past, and this is my approach. I would be doing this, which was a completely different set of skills of what I was doing for the past 5 to 7 years in my previous career. Somebody took a chance on me. They were convinced with me, with the approach that I suggested to them during the interview. It was a big chance on me, but again, it worked out well, and I was able to make that lateral move, which is a considerable career move in that case. To your point, Adam, it was actually account management as well, moving from project management skills, because people generally don't view engineering and project management skills moving to account management and client relationships in that direction, right? So I had to make that move outside, and I mean, here I am basically doing very well in that stage as well. So you have to basically build your building blocks. To Adam's point or Meg's point, it can be within the organization, or it can be outside the organization, where you establish your credentials, you get your education in that direction, whatever needs to be, and then you pitch yourself to be in that next step, and then let the person who is making that decision with networking, they would see you in events, again, that has been said before, in conventions, events, and all that. And when they have that trust, that faith in you, that change will automatically happen. Thank you.
And stay patient. You know, there was a point, I've been doing sales engineering for over 10 years, and there was a period of time where I found myself unemployed for 6 months. No matter the skills that I had, the skills they needed, I had the background, but the pool of applicants right now, just in general, is so massive that you just have to stay flexible, stay patient. And to Pat's point, like, it may be outside of the industry, maybe somebody taking a chance on you,
Right.
which has happened to me a couple of times, where somebody was like, yeah, you've got the right personality, you've got the right, you know, background of making things happen, that I think that you would be a great fit culturally inside the organization. And you just never know what you think you want could change very quickly when the right person becomes a resource in your opportunities.
Absolutely. Took me 3 years just to be. So it did, but it did happen, right? With the right preparation, with the right network, And then when you are there, you are there. People can see that. You keep on applying, approaching your resources, approaching your network. And I think people see that willingness to change, moving on to the next step, and that will happen. Yes, absolutely.
Hello, Diana.
Well, hello.
Is that Ken or Diana?
Well, hold on a second. I will let you know.
All right. Well, are there any other questions from anyone watching, or anything else pressing that you want to know specifically? You can speak up here. You can add it to the chat. No pressure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. I'm back for the end of the party. Well, if there aren't any additional questions, comments, I just wanted to say thank you for the panel. I appreciate all of you taking the time to hang out with us and share your wisdom. This has been a wonderful session to just learn a little bit about you guys, your experiences, and all the things that you guys have learned across your various experiences in your careers. I certainly have learned a little bit about you guys. And I will be knocking on your door on some tips and tricks. The one thing I did want to say, and as a parting gift for just spending some time with us and being part of our little community of pre-sales and community of ex-pre-sales and current post-sales. What we're going to do today is we have gathered and we'll gather some tips and tricks and tools and a little bit of us and put them in a little package that we will be sharing with you to help you get through some whatever you're going through, whether you are doing some research, whether you are looking to help someone find something, whether it's for a job, whether it's for a project you're working on. It's going to be basically something that will help you get through the day, whatever that might be. So it's going to be a surprise. I'm not going to share what it will be, but it's going to be a little bit from all of us here at NAASE. So you shall see that as a little bit of a follow-up over the next few days. Other than that, consider joining NAASE as a member, and consider joining NAASE and with a certificate. Please join us on our website and do a little bit of a reading and learn a little bit about us. There's a section to learn about us, and if you want to talk to us personally, please reach out to us, and we'd be happy to share more one-on-one conversations and support you in your journey wherever it might take you. Thank you again, and I hope to see you soon, and let's chat. Ciao.
Thank you.
Diana, Adam, Megan, others on the call.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, time.
Bye-bye.